Welcome to On the Chain.
So yesterday we talked about Brad Garlinghouse, and we was talking about, with the SEC, the Ripple, and all of that nobody outside the U.S. really knows or cares, other than XRP people. Anyone in the XRP community knows about it. Does anyone really care as much about it? And it's interesting. So he said most people outside the U.S. don't really care that the SEC is suing us. And so I just wanted to play this part real quick. Let's see if it's loud enough. Then there's some interesting commentary from Brad Garlinghouse to Cowboy Crypto after he said this. Oh, can you hear it?
No. Turn the volume up. Turn the volume up.
Hang on.
I don't hear anything. Are you playing it? Yeah, you're not playing it. So
I gotta let me stop the screen.
Why is it so complicated to play stuff? I mean, it should be super easy. That's a lot of times, guys, why you always see us download it, and we'll actually play it, because then it's usually fail-safe. Usually. Here we go. All right.
Most people outside the United States don't really care that the SEC is suing us. I'll tell you a very quick, funny story. I'll keep it short. I was in the Middle East last fall, and we were meeting with customers. I have one of the Ripple team members who's based there. It's really early in the morning. My time zones are all screwed up. We're meeting with the CEO of a payments company. And, but the employee from Team Ripple says, well, why don't you give an update on what's going on at Ripple? And I start talking about the SEC. And after the meeting, he very delicately says to me, no one gives a shit. And his point was, if you're not in the United States, the governments in Abu Dhabi, governments in Switzerland, Singapore, UK, Japan, they provided the clarity how they view and categorize digital assets, and they don't care that the United States SEC has a viewpoint that is, pending in court.
That's amazing, Chip. It's so spot on, right? The timing of it is interesting. So, so I find it interesting. So Cowboy Crypto says, so many people are watching this clip thinking BG is Brad Garlinghouse talking about XRP holders, when he's obviously referring to foreign banks and governments. Listen to that. They're still partnering with Ripple despite not having U.S. clarity, right? That's all over. House XRP says, I like how he uses profanity more and more when describing his feelings and others regarding the SEC lawsuit. So now, Brad Garlinghouse has to chime in at this point. He said, my outrage has grown as the litigation has unfolded. There is no recourse. There's no consequence for those who brought this lawsuit. The SEC's pursuit of a policy objective isn't about a faithful allegiance to the law. It's about power. That's a massive statement.
Huge. I mean, and this is one of the, I like the fact that he uses a little, I wouldn't say profanity so much, because remember, he talked about tribalism, that it's totally effing up the whole, and he's right about that. Like, so people in the tribalism, but this right here is absolutely spot on, Jeff. And and don't you love the way he interacts with the community as well? Like the fact that he's actually out there seeing what people are saying on the comment side. Like, I really love that. I think that in itself too shows you somebody who's a CEO at a company is also kind of interested and wants to go ahead and comment.
That's right. So, and I think, Chip, this kind of illustrates and explains everything. So this was from XRP News. Crypto posted this, but Brad Garlinghouse over here with the wheel, right? Regulators, no thanks. And they're still using the square wheel over here, over at the Fed. They're way too busy hauling rocks with square wheels. So, it really is amazing, and you would think this was, this would have been back in 2017, 2018, but this was now. It's like, why are we still having this conversation, trying to rationalize and explain the benefit of what's happening here to move money? It's just kind of crazy.
Yeah, it is. And I wanted to show too, and I'd also, let me just make that a little bit bigger. So I commented on that tweet as well. I guess I went around a little bit, but I said this. I said, hey, oh yeah, we are all outraged. Time to bring home the win. Let's just forget about it. Let's just bring home the win. Everybody's going to be happy. It's going to be a new day. Everybody will be dancing, and it'll be happy times, right? It'll be great. John Deaton had this to say, which was a little bit different, but he said this right here. He said, in case you were, well, there was actually, did you read this one here? The recourse, the no consequence.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
So
well,
the
I didn't read
comment,
that one yet. Oh yeah, that's one I just read.
yeah.
Yeah.
So he commented on this last one that you read, which was no recourse, no consequence. This SEC's pursuit of policy objective isn't about, and then he put in quotes, a faithful allegiance to the law. It's about power, right? You talked about how it's about power. And then John Deaton, the attorney representing the 75,000 XRP holders, said, in case you were wondering why the CEO of Ripple used quotes, is because, allow me to explain. This I love. A federal judge, little federal judge emoji there, if you will, sitting in the Southern District of New York, stated that the SEC lawyers, like the SEC enforcement director and its non-lawyer chairman, Gary Gensler, lack of faithful allegiance to the law. That was in her statement. So, if you don't think Brad Garlinghouse is paying attention and dotting the I's and stuff, it's exact. And it's so cool. It's like, someone like John Dean caught that right away. I didn't even catch that when I said that, when he said it.
It's so, Chip, it's so amazing. I mean,
It's inside baseball, Jeff.
it is. It really is, but, thank God we obviously had Deaton on the other day, and, he had some things to say about what's going on, and, just really outstanding stuff. But I'll tell you what, how you love the Bitcoin ambassador? I think he's probably one of your favorite guys on Twitter.
I commented on that too.
So the decentralization test, the only test that matters. That's according to the Bitcoin ambassador. And then he goes on and says, XRP is centralized, therefore no different than any fiat money, insecure, easily taken down. And to boot, the SEC is outlawing it. Now, obviously not following the case. First of all, the SEC doesn't have jurisdiction to outlaw anything. They don't write laws. So that's number one. If you're following the case, you would know that's different. And if you actually were reading and understanding. So anyhow, then he goes on, BTC is decentralized, separating money from state, immutable, can't be stopped. Plus the SEC ignores it. Now, obviously we can get into a whole conversation on that, Chip. And, this is all commenting on XRP versus Bitcoin, all that. But I just wanted to get more into Matt Hamilton's response. And if you have your comment to pull up as well, but here said, yes, the decentralization test is the only test that matters. The XRP ledger is decentralized. It has no central authority, no central point of control. No one can censor or seize transactions. Rules are enforced by majority will of the network, as we know, has to be voted through the validators. And I thought that Matt Hamilton really came in and kind of hit it out of the park as well. And because we know these Bitcoin maxis are continuously going after this space. And I like how, we get more and more of the commentary here. But if you have one you wanted to pull up.
Well, no, all I said was, when I read that, a lot of times, there's kind of a thing. It's like, as a, at least this is kind of something we always held true, the guys I used to run with, my boys, whatever, we would always say this, never engage with the weaker opponent, because, you're not always going to get the best of it, right? So I was just like this, what a fool believes. It's like, he's just a fool, right? At this point, because, and the sad thing about someone like, Max Kaiser, who, funny enough, has a pretty good, he has an amazing following, and he does have a lot of, I would say a voice out there that people look and trust. But when he actually says things that are just not true, or doesn't do a deeper dive, or can't spend 3 minutes on Google, looking and searching for it, and he puts out information that's just incorrect, it comes down to this tribalism that Brad Garlinghouse talked about, and it's funny because if Melanie were here, we would talk about Liverpool and be like, we'll talk about some other, people in the Premier League, or, other American football teams, and we all talk about our favorite team. But even today I'm watching the game and I saw a penalty, and I'm like, that shouldn't have been called on that team, and it benefits my team. But I was like, just calling it the way I see it, that was a bad call. Like I could see that was a bad call. And so you have to sort of be, when you have this sort of responsibility out there, and you have this voice, and you've got this amazing following, but there's a reason we call them Bitcoin maxis, because they're maximalists, and all they're going to have is their blinders on as Bitcoin. Funny thing is, I own Bitcoin. Ethereum, I own Ethereum. XRP, I own XRP. Algorand, Algo. It's like, there's big dust up with Hoskinson. Own it all, Jeff. So, I mean, it's like, it's just, I think it's silly.
It is. So here's one more for you, Chip. So Bitcoin Ambassador went on, no, because XRP is centralized, easy to take down and about to be outlawed, not to mention it doesn't do anything useful versus
No, not
Bitcoin.
at
Now,
all.
the commentary could go on forever on that one. I like how JV kind of stepped in on this one. In order for XRP to be taken down, the entire XRP ledger would have to be taken down. So how would the XRPL be taken down? Amendment votes. I highly doubt an amendment would ever get passed with this suggestion. And I like how Moon Lambo kind of came in there. He said Max Kaiser is lying to almost 500,000 followers with every single one of his XRP tweets. Good and honest people don't do that.
True.
Man, there you go.
No, he's true,
So-
but JV's right. But you know, the thing about that, JV is calling it like perfect, and that's flying right over his head. He might as well have said, Roger will debate. What? So, because it's just, you know, JV's talking about the XRP ledger, which is completely decentralized. And the other thing is, in the 10 plus years of its existence, no transactions went down. The network didn't go down. All of these things, these other projects that we see that have had some hiccups, you know, which point a lot to the decentralization of the project. Truly decentralized, you should really never go down, right? There should be stopgaps in there. So, but Apex Crypto says this, 2023 is going to be the year for XRP clarity. And I have a feeling he's right, because you know why? Because one way or another, we're going to get clarity. I see a big win. I would be just flabbergasted if it wasn't, but the SEC painted itself into a corner, and it's time to romp on that.
Are you down with OTC? Please like, subscribe, and click the bell to be notified when the next video drops.